Hey everyone, how's it going? I am back here today with a special video. Uh, Excuse me for a moment. It is very hot today, so went to Cold Stone, got some ice cream, got my specialty, and trying to beat the heat. And also, you might hear some outside noise because my window is open today, so you might hear some stuff outside, but shouldn't interfere with the video. But me eating probably will. Um, So I'm basically just making this video sort of as a, just to like put out some general thoughts of the trip I took back in Tokyo a couple weeks ago. In fact, I was going to make this video either last Tuesday or this Tuesday since it would coincided with the Tuesday when I came back from Tokyo. Uh, so yeah, but last week was not gonna work. And besides, I think I only just put out the last Tokyo. No, yeah, we'll put out the last Tokyo video by the end of Tuesday, so that would not have worked. And then I was just busy doing random things and then work and stuff. But here's the video of me, finally sitting down, talking about, what I thought about Tokyo and everything like that. Um, so and I also had to write down some notes because otherwise I would not, remember anything. So, did I enjoy the trip? Yes, it was great. I loved it. I loved being there. I loved interacting with everything. Enjoying all the different parts of the culture. I enjoyed the food. Um, well, really, I should just keep it to what I have here. So, this is going to referring to when I went to Musashi University. I think it was Monday. Probably within the Monday when we went Monday or Tuesday, can't remember which one, but part of it was the fact that I wanted to speak to some of the students there in Japanese because there was a special area, uh, they had a lounge area for the students. One of them was where you could only speak English and the other one was Japanese. I wanted to go in there, to test out my Japanese and speak to some of the students and stuff. Unfortunately, though, um, I really didn't want to go by myself because uh, I guess being just one of the only students, or the fact that I just didn't want to go by myself, going into a room where you're the only person, well, you're one of the few people whose Japanese is going, well, you're probably the only person, in my case, whose Japanese is going to be dwarfed by everyone else's Japanese. That would be, that's very intimidating. So I was like, so I was going to I wanted to, go in with someone else from my group. Uh, no one was really interested in going in there right now, so I was just like, well, that's a bummer. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Later, I found out that Maya wanted to go in there, and she would have done it if I had just asked her. But yeah, it didn't go work out. I didn't go in there, wasn't able to speak Japanese. So yeah, that was that. Although I did speak with one of the students there for a while, his name was Junia, uh, and I spoke to him mostly in English, but there were a couple of things which we exchanged in Japanese. That was pretty nice. So next point. Oh yeah, the food. The food was definitely great. Going there, trying the different cuisine. Oh, let me put it like this. Making the food was nice. Personally, when we went there, to that Japanese traditional house for the cooking lesson. Um, Different food we had at different places like the chanko nabe. when we went to see the sumo. The last day we went there, having that like 6 course meal, that was great too. But also just like simple things. In fact, if you ever go to Tokyo, you need to go to 7-Eleven because there's a lot of good stuff there that you can get for pretty decent prices. I mean, you can get bento boxes, you can get sandwiches, you can get uh, other types of things. And there's this really awesome thing that that I love, and they're pancakes. But they're not pancakes like you would think of them. They're sort of like two silver dollar sized pancakes, uh, almost sort of like, I guess, welded together. But between them are butter and syrup. And so it's sort of like a sandwich in a way because you bite into it, and you have that butter and syrup right in there. And so it's like uh, you have a complete meal right there because you have the pancakes, but you don't need to do anything with them because everything else is right there. And I didn't even expect that at first. When I first saw it, I just thought, "Oh, cool. There are pancakes in here, you know." So I was just opening up, and I realized, "Oh, wow, these are stuck together. Why are they stuck together?" I bit into it, and that's when I found out why. And I thought, "This is brilliant." And this is a 7-Eleven, and so I'm thinking to myself, America, why aren't you doing something like this? All right. Only thing that 7-Eleven has over here that's worthwhile uh, would be Slurpees, and that's it. I mean, and it's wow, it's just crazy. And then also the fact that if you buy something that would require heating up, they will heat that up to you after you pay for it. I didn't do this, but one of the people in my group, she went. I think she bought some noodles. They took the noodles and they microwaved it for her before giving it to her. Um, that's pretty cool, you know, especially since our hotel didn't have any microwaves. You know, you can just like boom, go in. If you're hungry, just walk to 7-Eleven, grab the food, get it heated up, walk back to the hotel. Simple as that. Yeah, that was great. And there were other things there, snacks and whatnot, but yeah, 7-Eleven was definitely awesome. The food and also in general is pretty much healthier there than it is in America. They generally heat up their food and cook their food in water instead of oil and stuff. Pretty interesting with that. And they also have a very strong sense of following the of using all the food groups. So a meal that you have will include pretty much everything. Typical Japanese meal will have all of the food groups in it. So you will not be missing out on anything. You'll have your meats, your vegetables. You would have some like a man. I can't believe I'm forgetting the food groups, but basically you will have everything. And if you go to a restaurant, though you won't don't expect to be able to like have some sort of like to go boxes because they normally don't do that. You're normally gonna just eat whatever eat whatever you eat, and then just like that's it. Like don't expect to like take out the rest of your food to go. Um, I mean, some places might do that, but generally speaking, it's not expected. Um, Also, don't expect there to be any exceptions for items on the menu. So, like, say you didn't want something that came with a meal, um, they generally don't divert from what's there. Basically, what you read is what you're gonna get there. Like, yeah, generally no exceptions. I mean, you could ask uh, for substitution or something like that, but you're most likely not going to get that. Uh, oh yeah. Also, if you're going to move to be in Tokyo, you it's going to be difficult for those if you're very claustrophobic, because Tokyo is a very, I mean, I guess you could say that about Japan, but especially Tokyo, it's a very tight and closed-in city. So, especially if you're going to be on the trains, uh, yeah, you're going to have to expect someone to be within your own personal space, because especially depending on the time of day you're going. If you're going in on an early train, or I guess sometime sort of semi late, or like when everyone's getting off work, that's when you can expect to really be up and close to everyone. I mean, I expected it to be full, but that morning we went to the fish market, and I can't remember what the other day was. We were so tight. I mean, everyone's pretty much up against each other. Um, but yeah, that's just a tip. That's just like something you would typically expect in Tokyo. Uh, so yeah, if you have claustrophobia, I would not recommend you go there, or if you're gonna go, just know what to expect. Uh, I like the general rules and structure and order of Tokyo, like how they have things like, uh, you know, they're very, I guess you could say, more obedient towards like jaywalking and stuff. So if you're walking and the pedestrian light is red, no one, for the most part, I mean, there might be one or two people, but no one's crossing at all. Um, when you're going on the subway, going through the subway and stuff like that, they have special sides where you're either walking up or walking down, and then you stay to the far side of each one. Uh, and then if you so that way, for those who are in a rush, can go through the other side of your designated walking space. So if you're just walking at general pace on, say, the left side, uh, then on the right side of the left side, if that makes sense, people who are in a hurt rush can run past you. So I like that. It gives order and stuff like that. Uh, One thing though I found was the trash system there is a bit excessive, but it can't. But I see why it's necessary. So it's sort of like a necessary evil. And what I mean by that is the fact that in Japan, they are very meticulous about how they handle waste. So they will have everything pretty much separated. So you will have your plastic bottle separated from your paper, which separated from, I guess, other types of trash and stuff. Uh, and then I know that in some, whatever, in different districts or areas, they can even be more meticulous, such as the fact that uh, you have to crush the bottles in a special type of way, um, or you like the plastic on the plastic bottle has its own separate bag that it goes into. So it's not just enough, just to throw away your plastic bottle. You have to take the bottle cap off or something, or well, not the bottle cap off, but just the sticker that's on there. You have to take that off and put it in a different bag. So I understand why they do it, because Japan's a small island. In fact, the entire of Japan, I think, can fit in the state of California. So they really don't have a lot of room just be placing garbage and stuff anywhere. Um, but they also sort of in they sort of what's what I'm looking for. They they start that at a younger age, because they have kids working at kids who are in school. They have I heard that that the kids there will even do work with like cleaning the school and making sure it's maintained. So by doing that, it keeps them from uh, you know being messy, just throwing stuff randomly, littering and stuff like that. It's a great way, just to, keep help them keep things clean. So, they wouldn't mess up school, which they would have to clean up. And I guess, that sort of teaches them that with outside of that, why mess up, something that should be just kept clean. So I really like that. In fact, there are you would be very hard pressed to find any sort of trash in Tokyo. I mean, I probably found trash or litter on the streets maybe six to seven times. And that was, like I said, throughout the entirety of my entire trip. So even the different places I went to, like that was that was about it. So yeah, definitely, a big contrast to, like, me coming back here and then like maybe seeing some trash here, or then maybe look down a block and there's some trash over here. It's very well maintained. So kudos on that. Uh, Walking can definitely be something that you will have to be accustomed to because of the fact that uh, that's perhaps the largest uh, form of transportation there. Walking to the train station, get off the train, walk some more to wherever you're going, and then walking back to the train just to walk some more. Unless, of course, you're riding a bike. And then I guess what few people actually use cars. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are cars there. People drive, but it's you know more common to have people for it's more common for people to be walking. Um, Around than just for that. So at first, you might be, really, I guess you could say, tired, but uh, you will, I guess, just get used to it after a while. Um, Now, granted, after the fifth day of just hard walking around, hardcore walking around, uh, our legs were just so tired that we really just wanted a day just where we could just not walk at all. But when we finally got that day, of course, it was on Sunday, the free day. But at the same time, though, that's when we had our free day, and we wanted, to go wherever, wherever we wanted to go and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a, trade-off. But, it's definitely good exercise. I can admit that. Uh, oh yeah, and I wanted to mention this. I didn't mention this back when I was in Japan, but I have a quick overview of the kabuki shows I saw. So the first kabuki show I saw was called Ishikiri Karigawa, or Stone Cutting Play. And long story short, uh, there is a swordsmith and his daughter. They are trying to sell a sword, um, to someone, so that way the father can provide money for his daughter and her husband. So they find this feudal lord who has a brother and is accompanied by a samurai, and so he's trying to sell it to the feudal lord. However, the brother is very is a very mean spirited person, so he does not want the brother to buy the sword and keeps throwing obstacles, even when the samurai keeps saying it's a very good sword. Uh, and the father eventually decides that he will try to prove how sharp the sword is by having the sword cut through two people at once. So the feudal lord tries to have two prisoners brought out to have the sword, or prisoners who are sentenced to death to have the sword tested out on them. But there's only one prisoner, so the father is going to have it tried out on himself and the prisoner. However, he sends the daughter away first, tells her a lie, tells her to go home and get like a certificate, show that the sword is sharp enough, but there is no certificate. But he tries to send her away. The samurai is moved because of the devotion and love that the father has for the daughter, and so he's very torn. The daughter comes back right before the samurai can perform the execution. Uh, she tries to stop him from killing the father. Samurai is conflicted. He performs execution, only kills the only kills the prisoner who was sentenced to die, but it doesn't cut through the father. Uh, the feudal lord and the brother are furious and feel grateful that they haven't been scammed. When in reality, the samurai actually spared the father because he didn't want to kill him, but to sort of uphold what he was saying, uphold the promise to be able to cut through two people. He had the father and daughter stand on both sides of a well where the reflection were, and so he cut through the well with his sword, and then by cutting through two people, hence by their reflections, so he cut through two people, uh, and the samurai buys the sword from the father, and it's a happy ending. Second one was an abridged play. It was very short. It was I think maybe one scene that was used. Yoshisuno Senpon Sakura, uh, and what I saw, uh, it was about uh, a man who was who was in army. He was killed, but he had a servant who was actually a fox spirit who could turn into a human. Um, and he served as servant to the man's wife, who had a what it wasn't it was I think it was a drum, and the drum was made from the skins of the fox spirit's parents. So whenever she uh, banged on the drum, he would start to display some of his fox characteristics, which no one knew about. Um, and then eventually, I think some uh, enemy soldiers come along, the fox spirit fights them off, and then they all walk away. That one was okay. I guess if they had more of the original story, it would have been nice. Um, but yeah, those were the ones that we saw. And let's see, what else? What was I gonna say? Oh, there was the one thing I was a bit concerned about by going to the Skiji fish market was that since we were going to be surrounded by all the fish there, especially on the inside. Now you didn't get to see this because of the fact that on the inside there were no cameras allowed, no video recording or picture anything like that, because it's just not allowed. Um, so what you saw, all this footage of the Skiji fish market you saw, that was on the outside of the fish markets, not the actual inside where everything's actually being put together and stuff. Um, but there was just like a lot of fish. Like you saw fish heads here and there. I mean, granted, you did see a fish head in one clip, but you can actually see it in sort of like a not factory setting, but just like sort of like a warehouse setting. So there were ice cutting machines. There's a lot of machinery going around. That's for certain. Uh, but yeah, it was just like all this stuff. And I was a bit concerned that, being around surrounded by this fish, I would actually have a fish scent on me. But there was the one surprisingly. I mean, I was thinking to myself, man, I'm really gonna have to, take a really good shower just to get this scent off me. But there was none, and that was pretty amazing. Uh, the last thing, what's this? Oh yeah, last thing. Would I want to visit there again if well, I want to visit there? No, wait. There's one last thing before I even mention that. Um, so there's one prevailing sound. Well, no, two prevailing. I'm not sure which one to go with first. All right. So first thing, when I stepping out into Tokyo, and this is after. This would be like the morning after, because after we got off the plane, going to the bus, going to the hotel, it was just us, pretty much. There weren't too many other people around. But when we went out the first morning to go to the cooking class and going actually out into the city when people are walking out and about, that was sort of a sensory overload because I hear, I mean, I'm trying to read some signs and stuff that are in Japanese, but then hearing Japanese coming from virtually everywhere around you, that was just insane because then I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna try to listen, but there's stuff in Japanese coming this way, but there's stuff coming in Japanese this way, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is just like crazy. It's sort of like going into an MMO, and then it's like everyone is just like all the people there are speaking Japanese. You're like typing in, it's like, okay, I'm gonna read this, but oh man, there's another dialogue box pops up in Japanese. But this dialogue box pops up in Japanese. It's like boom, 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 boom. And for a while, it took me probably about a day or two to become accustomed to that and being able to just either block all of that out or being able just to listen in on just one thing that was being spoken. But yeah, it was just crazy having all of that just go bombard me. That was pretty cool. But the other thing I was gonna say originally was something that I heard in particular was Dragon Quest music. Now Dragon Quest is a video game series. I had heard of it, never was really interested in it. But I just heard like I mean, if you watch when I went to the video game store in Akihabara, you'll probably hear something similar starting over again. It was the Dragon Quest theme playing over and over again, and I just kept hearing it and hearing it and hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. And then even in Shibuya, um, there was this area that's sort of like I guess you could say Times Square. You know how they have all the TV screens and stuff around Times Square and stuff, but there's also audio coming too. Um, and then every once in a while they'll have this Dragon Quest, I think mobile game, come up, but they also have the Dragon Quest theme music playing, and so I kept hearing that. And eventually, when I got home, I just said to myself, all right, I'm just gonna look up Dragon Quest theme music. I'm gonna look up, and the Dragon Quest theme is it's a very great theme. I never heard of it until I went there, and I just thought, wow, this is awesome. I really enjoy this theme. And then eventually, I just got to the point where I said, you know what, I think I'll try out a Dragon Quest game, and crazy, I never would have considered playing the game if it wasn't for the fact that I kept hearing the music playing over and over again in my head. um, so congrats Square. Your marketing in Japan has got a new person to try out one of your products. Uh, so yeah, the last thing I was gonna say, I would definitely want to uh, visit to Tokyo again. That is definitely something I'd like to do. Uh, Pretty much everyone from the group wanted to visit again, and we were talking about like we wanted to go, what we wanted to like do sort of what we did before. Would we want to go to like a more countryside thing? Either or is fine with me. But I definitely like to go there again, and you know I could actually see myself moving and living there. Now the only reason I wouldn't do it, two reasons why. Quite simple actually. Tsunamis and earthquakes. Now, granted, anything can happen anywhere. But since those are the pretty much two prevalent natural disasters that occur there in Japan, I really would not want to, sort of, subject myself to that. Especially, with earthquakes. I am a poster person, as you can see in the background. Having to worry about my posters like shaking and stuff and like falling down and everything. And yeah, I couldn't do that. But otherwise, I'd probably if it wasn't for the fact of those two things, there would be a man. This is a bit at least a 40% chance of me moving to Tokyo. I'm just gonna say it like that. But yeah, definitely a great trip. Uh, Definitely had a blast going there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you all have any questions about uh, the trip, just leave it in the comment section below. Oh, and also, if you haven't seen any of the videos of my trip, I will leave a link to the playlist also in the description box, so you all can watch it at your leisure. So, everyone, until next time, I am iamxeracon signing off. Have a good one.